Hey everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. We are gonna do just like a little sit down chat, informal, very like you could put this in your ears and clean your house and you wouldn't miss anything. So just so you know, that's the vibe. While I realize that I owe nobody any explanation about my body, I also realize that it has changed in appearance over the last 5 or 6 months. And I know that a lot of you guys have noticed because I've seen comments, and I do honestly want to address it. I've been going back and forth on like, do I need to make this video? And I don't think that I do, but I do think that it will be helpful. And I always pride myself on trying my best to be really transparent and honest, especially in the fitness space. I think there is so much just like non-disclosures about certain things, and then people selling products. And while I don't use my body as my business card, like I have literally never put out anything that's like, here's what I did and here's the program you can buy to get the same results as me. Like I don't do that, and I never will, and I never have. I also, on the flip side, realize that it feels a little ingenuous to not address the fact that I clearly, like, I've lost weight. That's a neutral thing. I see it as a side effect of the different habits that I have instilled over the last few months, which we will specifically talk about. But I think it would be, I don't know, like doing you guys a disservice to just ignore it. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about like how that happened, why that happened. But I also will talk about at the end why I'm still not a big fan of commenting on other people's bodies, whether it's coming from a neutral, positive, or negative place. So we'll get to that at the end. I do want to say, obviously, I've already talked about the fact that there is going to be talks of weight loss in this video. So if that, for whatever reason, does not serve you at this moment in time, goodbye. We'll see you in the next one. At the very end, I will be talking a little bit about just like disordered exercise and eating habits. So again, if that does not serve you and we get to the end, I will let you know that it is happening. But again, goodbye. We'll see you in the next one. And without further ado, let's dive into the 3 things. That sounds so stupid. There's like 3 main reasons why my body changed. So let's just talk about the first one. I started running this year. I started running really seriously back in January because I'm going to reference this video like 7 times, I think. I talked about in my 2025 goals video that I really wanted to improve on my aerobic capacity. That's the main goal there. I realized when I took an Orange Theory class with my husband and wore the tracker, oh my God, I was in like peak heart rate the entire time. I had no aerobic base. And I was like, that can't be good. I think a lot of that happened when I stopped teaching dance cardio, and aerobically, you do lose those gains a lot faster than like strength and muscular gains. Also, it's been a long time since I've taught dance cardio. So I really just like my cardio fell down and I wanted to improve it. So increasing running means increasing my step count. I went from about 8,000 steps on average daily last year. Right now, my average is sitting at about 13,000 steps a day average on this year. So that's, what is that, 5,000 extra steps a day? Fuck, is that math? I think that's math. That's a pretty big increase in energy expenditure. The way that weight loss works, or fat loss, we can say, fat loss occurs when you are in a calorie deficit. So when you are expending more energy than you are ingesting. I, at points during this year, was in a deficit, and it caused weight loss on my person. Again, and I don't think that intentional weight loss is a bad thing, but it wasn't intentional. It did happen. That's it. We don't need to moralize it. But that was the first thing that changed my body. The second thing that I did was I started tracking my nutrition. Again, I talked about it in that 2025 goals video. I also did a whole video where I talked about, I think it was like 3 weeks of calorie counting and macro counting, and just like my takeaways from it. So if you want to know a little bit more detail about these topics, you can go watch those videos. But I realized last year that, you know, I've had a very like, up and down past with numbers and counting calories. And I'm in a much healthier place where I can do it in small amounts now. And I really just wanted to do it as a check-in because I noticed that at the end of the day, I was like starving, and that was causing me to like eat a lot more at the end of the night. And I was like, I think like something's wrong. Like, am I not eating enough protein? Am I not eating enough during the day? And it actually turns out I wasn't eating enough at my meals during the day, which was causing me to be really hungry at night. And then I was overeating at night. So I was actually like eating more than I needed. So just by taking some of those calories and spreading them out during the day, it helped a lot. My protein was actually fine. Fiber was great. Carbs were pretty good. I've adjusted them a little bit here and there in terms of like running just to help support that. The only other thing though that I did notice that was that my fat intake was pretty high. And that was actually also seen in my blood work from this year. My LDL cholesterol, which is the one that you want lower, bad cholesterol was a little bit high. So I've just been working on really paying attention to not only my fat intake, but what types of fats that I'm eating. So yeah, so I got a little bit more advanced and nuanced with my nutrition, which ended up causing some changes on my body. And then the third thing that changed, which again, I made a whole video about, I did drastically bring down my alcohol consumption. Taking in less alcohol, which is like, it has calories. Taking that out, cut down my caloric intake, which had changes on my body. But I think also, because whenever I say that, like I've said that to a few people and I always feel like if you watch Parks and Rec, remember when Chris Pratt or Andy Dwyer, the character, he lost a lot of weight because he booked, I think it was when he booked, Guardians. Guardians was before Jurassic World. So he booked Guardians of the Galaxy. And so he had to be like a Marvel superhero. So he had to get ripped. And they were trying to hide it for a long time on Parks and Rec, just like putting him in baggy shirts. And there's that one episode where he's like walking with Adam Scott's character. And Adam's like, how'd you lose all that weight, buddy? And he's like, oh, I just stopped drinking beer. And he's like, how much beer were you drinking? And he's like, I guess a lot. Like, that's what I feel like when I say that. It wasn't like that. I think the thing that happened more so, besides just like the less energy intake, was that my decision making was really bad around alcohol. Like, I would make poor food choices. My sleep would suffer. I then the next day would be like, oh, I'm too tired to do my workout. Like, I wasn't feeling motivated. So I think it's more so that, if I'm being perfectly honest, than just the calories from the alcohol. So just to make it clear, like it's a nuanced answer right there. So anyway, those are the three main reasons why my body looks a little bit different right now. I didn't do anything crazy. Yeah. So this is the part where we're going to shift into the part of the video where I will talk about some of my past with disordered tendencies. So if you need to sign off, goodbye. I'll see you in the next one. But all of this kind of leads into why I'm still not a fan of body comments in any direction. I also want to say, if you're ever somebody in my past or like recently that has commented on my body in a positive, or well, if it's in a negative way, you can go fuck yourself. But like, if you've ever even just given me a compliment on my body, I don't want you thinking that I'm like mad or pissed or judging you. Not at all. I, if anything, just want to explain to you why, if you don't have an understanding in a relationship with somebody, your compliment or your comment might actually be doing them a disservice. And again, I think so much of this is nuance, which is why I don't get upset about it. I just think this is a great time to educate people. Like, for instance, my husband loves positive comments on his body, loves them. He does not get affected by this in the same way that I do. And on the flip side, I am totally fine with him commenting on my body in a positive way. So I think a lot of this is so nuanced. It really comes down to each individual and then even your individual relationships with people. So anyway, let's get into it. So I've always been thin. My weight has fluctuated up and down throughout my life, which I think like that's very normal and that happens to people. I don't think that's a big deal, but I definitely, in college gained some weight. That happens. That's just what happens. Like, yeah. And then my senior year of college, if you don't know, I went to school for musical theater. Surprise! I booked a regional production of Cats, which if you don't know is a very dance-heavy show. And specifically, the track that I was playing was a kitten, which is typically even more dance heavy than some of the adult cats. So the show was basically just like 3 hours of cardio. And I really wasn't doing anything. I was taking dance classes, but like nothing in terms of like that much aerobic endurance. And I lost a good chunk of weight. And I all of a sudden started getting lots of compliments on my body. Oh my God, what have you been doing? You've never looked better. You're so skinty. You look amazing. Everything and anything, all positive. And I loved it, but I also was like, hold on. Did no one tell me I was fat? Because I didn't think I was fat. I start looking through old photos and seeing what I looked like before and seeing what I looked like then. And I was like, holy shit, no one told me I was fat. I was mortified. I was also 22, had no understanding of like health and nutrition and anything like that at this point. And I was just like, I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, no one told me I was fat. I'm so embarrassed. Well, gotta stay this size then. And, I get through the run of the show and I wasn't stupid. And I start realizing, I'm like, oh my God, okay, so this show made me skinny. So I need to continue doing cardio to stay skinny because otherwise I'm going to get fat again. And when people stop complimenting me, I will know that I'm fat again. So the show ends, I start implementing like running on the treadmill. And that was what I would do. And I would just try and burn as many calories as I could. And basically I hated every minute of it. And I was just trying to like beat my body into submission and rip the calories off my body so I could stay thin. And a lot of the comments stopped, which didn't feel good. Like this is part of the issue. And I was just like sad about it. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm fat again. Within the next year, I actually booked another production of Cats. And I was like, okay, this time I'm going to get those compliments back. Not only am I going to be doing the show, I am also going to be working out and adjusting my nutrition. And I'm going to get even more compliments and get even skinnier. And I did. And I lost even more weight. Then within the next 6 months or so, I booked a production of Hairspray. And I was like one of the kids, like a nicest kid in town, and very dance heavy show. And this was one of, I'd say I had two like bad lows in terms of like disordered tendencies. This was the first one. This was one of the thinnest times of my life. I was getting a lot of compliments. My whole personality became wrapped up in staying thin, consuming as few calories as possible. Like, I'm not going to say the number because I have learned that that's not helpful, but like a scary low amount of calories. To the point where like I couldn't sleep because I was so hungry, but I was getting compliments and I was being told how amazing I looked, and that was all that matters. And so that was kind of like ebbing and flowing. And I started healing as I got older and learned more and talked to people. I'm really proud of where I'm at now because, this year, over the past 5 or 6 months, I've started to get comments like that. Which again, I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I'm in a much healthier headspace now. But like, I have seen old videos of me from just last year, just 6 months ago, or workouts, because I film myself like every fucking day, and gone, like I've had that twinge of like, oh my God, I was bigger. Oh no, what are people thinking? And then I go, it doesn't matter. Because you know what? That's your body. And your body happened to look different. And your body happens to look different now. And that body did so many great things for you. And this body is doing so many great things for you. And your body, when you were sick, did so many great things for you. And your body, when you were bigger and in college and like living your life and figuring out who you were as a person, like also served you. And all of these bodies that I've lived in, and my body will continue to change because I'm aging and changing, and like that's fine. My body will continue to serve me, and I'm lucky to have a body that can do all of the things that I am trying to do. I know that people are gonna think that I'm like preaching body positivity, and I'm not, because I'm not saying that you always have to be positive about your body and love your body. I definitely come from more of a place of body neutrality and just being able myself, I don't need other people chiming in on it, like just to look at my body and what it can do and its different times in life, and just at least find gratitude in some way for all of them. I just think especially, and I know that men deal with this as well, I know Kevin has been on a handful of videos and talked about how he suffers from body dysmorphia, and he has his own issues with like what is expected as a man in society and what you're supposed to look like and all of this. So I'm not negating that at all, but you know, I can only speak from my experience. And I think that especially as a woman in our society, it's really your value a lot of times is put on the way that your body looks and kind of nothing else. And it's really sad. And this is one of the many reasons I do what I do and I preach what I preach and I try to educate and help people, because you know, I've been in really shitty dark places with my body, and I've hated my body at many times during my life, and it's not a fun place to be, and I don't think anyone deserves to feel that way about themselves. Your body is just an outward like meat sack. It's not who you are. It's, I think honestly, it's the least interesting thing about you, all of us. I think what your body can do and how it can support you and your mind and your thoughts and your creativity, like I think all of those are so much more important than just like what size jeans you are or how flat your stomach is or how much muscle definition you have. Who the fuck cares? Life is too short to focus on those things. And hopefully, to wrap this up and tie it up and make it a little cohesive from top to finish, all of the things that I did that ended up changing my body. Again, I don't have an issue with weight loss. I don't have an issue with aesthetic goals. Me personally, I did not approach this whole thing from an aesthetic or weight loss point. Again, that's not a bad thing, because I know people think that I'm against aesthetic goals or I'm against weight loss. I've literally never said that, and I'm making that very clear right now. But I approached all of those things from a place of health and a place of performance, which are two different ways to approach goals. Again, you can have weight loss and aesthetic goals. I just approach them in different ways. But I just say this to show you that sometimes your performance and your health goals can also have a change on your physical appearance. So if you are somebody who really like does have some disordered background and tendencies, and you're not ready to dive into more of the aesthetic and the weight loss focus, but you want that, but it feels scary just to like, you know, count calories and macros and focus on calorie burn and whatever, there's another option. I'm not selling my option. I'm just saying, I'm just showing. Anyway, this is obviously unscripted because this is going all over the place. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's helpful nuggets in here. I think that being really transparent, especially in the time of like people getting BBLs and then selling glute growth programs, or people pulling a Brooke Wyndham, getting liposuction and then selling her workouts. We can't do that. I mean, you can, because there's no rules in fitness, but like, I think that's super unethical and it's not what I'm about. So anyway, this has taken a turn. We're going to go. I don't know, have questions? I don't know if this feels like a questions video. I don't know. I guess like just, I don't know, if you want to write a comment, write a comment. More important thing, if you want to subscribe, that would be awesome, because that really does actually help my channel. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate how much you share with me, and I try to match that. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.